Bonnie C, another trucker. Trucking is too hard and it's too much work for new truckers or for new drivers. Slash trucking is modern day slavery. And I've been seeing a lot of videos. Really, it just ain't about new people in trucking. It's just a lot of videos, period, on social media about people tired of working. They don't really want to work no job. And most of these type of videos are being made by younger people. You know what I'm saying? People younger than me, 10, 15 years, 20 years younger than me. So it's a lot of people that really don't want to work, you know. But I definitely see a lot of people making videos from trucking. And, you got people that feel like trucking is slavery. And yeah, I get it. But before I get off into it, I wanna start this off a different way. Just follow me. Just follow me. So some people might be familiar with the red pill, right? That term red pill, you might have heard that term in the manosphere, you know what I'm saying? That type of stuff, right? And then so when they talk about the red pill, it's like this thing when a man first become aware. That's because that's basically what being red pill is supposed to mean, just being aware. But you got a lot of content that just makes it about women. You know what I'm saying? But it's really just being aware. So so yeah, when a man takes the red pill and he, becomes aware of everything, he becomes aware of the lies and everything that he's been told has not been true or whatnot, or however he feel that he's been misled in life, especially when it comes to women. A lot of men go through a stage of what they call red pill rage, right? They angry, they resentful, they might, you know what I'm saying, feel some type of way and come off and saying like they hate women, but basically, typically, it's been said that when men come to the red pill, they had red pill rage. I had red pill rage too, but my red pill rage wasn't about women. My red pill rage started when I started realizing what the financial system really was. Just, you know what I'm saying? Once I realized like what a bank really was. And just realizing like they never really they talked about economics and some of this stuff in school, but it wasn't emphasized. It wasn't emphasized in school. All the stuff they taught us in school ain't had nothing to do with what people got to deal with in real life. You know, I still to this day can't understand like what was the point of us watching Mary Poppins videos? Seems like every year, like some teachers putting on Mary Poppins. Like I just, you know what I'm saying? So a lot of stuff that we face when we get out of school, man, it ain't nothing that they taught us in school. So once I realized this, yeah, I became angry. You know what I'm saying? I started getting angry. It's probably somewhere around my early 30s. Hit that 30 mark. A lot of people when they get around that 30 mark, man, they start seeing and thinking differently. You know what I'm saying? People start waking up to certain things if they haven't realized certain things before. So yeah, I was angry and I wanted to do something about it. And at the time, I was reading I was up on a lot of Dr. Claude Anderson. I don't know if some of y'all familiar with him, but I was reading his books. I was just up on his literature and what he was talking about, man. And he definitely somebody that helped shape my perspective on things, even to this day. You know what I'm saying? So this is one idea that I had, man, because I knew this principal. Well, he's not. I think he's a principal now, but before he was a teacher. He was a school teacher. I think he taught like I don't know. I came freshman, sophomore in high school. I knew he taught high school. I don't know if it was junior high or high school, but they was teenagers basically. So me and him used to talk about these type of things. You know what I'm saying? And my idea was, I'm like, man, we got to find a way how to reach these kids. And this was like right before I was coming in the trucking. As I was coming in the trucking, and this was part of my plan. So we rapping. I'm like, man, we gotta find a way to start reaching these kids, man, because I came to the realization, man, the older people get, the more they get stuck in their ways, and the only way that you can change the future is by reaching the youth. That's how I really felt. So we was talking about, I was like, man, I want to get one of these Dr. Claude Anderson books, man, because he got this book called he got a few of them. I think one of them is called Powernomics, another one is called Black Labor, White Wealth. And he got like a couple books on like history and stuff like that, man. Some real good books. But I wanted to damn, man. Drink this water. I wanted to get a shipment of them books and get, you know what I'm saying? Because he was down with putting these books in his class, or not necessarily trying to make these books a part of the curriculum. You know what I'm saying? We was going to do some extra credit type of thing, like something they do on their own after school. But to incentivize them to read the book, we was going to hold a test. You know what I'm saying? Come up with some type of test or something like that. And, get them a certain amount of time to read the book, to finish the book, whoever wanted to do it. Did nobody have to do it? Whoever wanted to do it. And the incentive was, hey, if you read this book, we test you, you get a certain grade, you get a certain amount of money, cash. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you gotta put the medicine, you gotta put the candy. No, you gotta put the medicine in the candy. So my thing was like, okay, somebody get an A or however it's scored, give them $200. Give them $200 cash, or you can give them $200 to go to the shoe store. You know what I'm saying? Foot Locker, whoever, gift card. You know what I'm saying? And break the prizes down in tiers. If they get a B, give them $150. If they get a C, give them $50. But this was just some shit that I just wanted to do. This ain't had nothing to do with the school curriculum. But him being a teacher, you know what I'm saying, and having to do things by the book for whatever reason, he had to bring it to whoever his superiors was at the time. And that shit got shut down. And I was a little hurt. You know what I'm saying? I was a little hurt because that was part of the plan. That was something like whatever first little money that I accumulated when I first started trucking, I was willing to spend my money to get these books and start just, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know nothing about how to start no nonprofit and do things the bureaucratic way. I don't know nothing about that. I just do the shit and get it done. But when you trying to do shit like this, you got to go through all these steps and people, you know what I'm saying? So at that time, I was just like, man, let's just get the books. Whoever want to read them, hey, this is what we offering. And you want to, you know what I'm saying? And you got to offer some type of incentive to make things interesting for youngsters to want to read, because a lot of people don't really be wanting to read. So that was just the start of my little way of wanting to do something to make a difference. You know what I'm saying? At least try. You know what I'm saying? So when that got shut down, just after a while, man, I just, along with other things, man, I just realized, like, because at first I was angry. Like I say, I had red pill rage too when it came to certain things that I realized about this system. But then as years went by, man, I just realized, like, shit, this is the way it's supposed to be. It's set up this way. It ain't no coincidence that they didn't teach us certain things in school. And, I just grown to accept it. One thing, I think it was John D. Rockefeller. One of those, John D. Rockefeller, I think it was him. But him and, whoever was all the thought leaders around that time when they was, creating society in the Western Hemisphere, the government ain't the ones who really created the country. It was these magnates. You know what I'm saying? People like all them families that you hear about, the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, Andrew Carnegie, you know what I'm saying? People like that. All these thought leaders, these are the people who really helped shape the foundation of this country. At way after the forefathers, but as far as like industry and things of that nature. But I think it was John D. Rockefeller that said, man, he want a nation of workers. He want a nation of workers. And as I began to grow older, man, I got out of my feelings and I started looking at things objectively. And you just realize that that's the way this system, everything is set up. And I say this all the time, like, nothing is set up to make the worker rich. Nothing is set up to make your life easy. But the great thing about living in this country or living in the Western Hemisphere, you know what I'm saying? Or in a westernized society such as America, is that you have the choice not to be a slave. But the thing is, they just don't, they're not going to teach us this. And they're not. Maybe in other schools and other, places in different places in the country. But as far as like in, where we come from, people that look like me come from, or just low income areas or whatever you want to call it, urban inner city, man, they not finna go out their way to really put us up on how to use a credit card, how to look at using credit and interest rates and all that. They not teaching us that stuff in school. Like I say, they glance over in economics and little stuff like that, but it's not. Most of them classes in school, man, should have been emphasized, or you would think things should be emphasized on things that we're going to have to deal with when we get out of school. And you get out of school and you realize, man, none of this shit that I learned in school got nothing to do with what I'm facing right now. So that's the one great thing about this country, man. You can decide what you want to do, who you want to be, what you want to be. But so bringing it back around to, people feeling like trucking is too much work, or people feeling like slaves in trucking. Trucking is a lot of hard work. I was looking at a youngster's video, a couple of his videos a day. I forgot his name, but this young cat, who knows? He might watch my channel. I don't know. But I heard him. You know what I'm saying? This young cat was 23 years old. He said he tired of working. But he did say he was going to keep working, but he was just venting. But he said he tired of working, tired of feeling like a slave, and just some of the things that he was saying about the stuff that he was going through with his trucking job. You know what I'm saying? I related. He was saying something about, he was under the understanding that he do his 10 hours a day, and that's it. But then somewhere down the grapevine, they switched it up, and it came down like, hey, y'all gonna have to start working 13 to 14 hours a day. And I ain't gonna lie. Initially, when you got your life set up in a certain type of way and you move in a certain type of way and your job come with something like that, yeah, that is some bullshit. I ain't gonna hold you up. At first, yeah, it will feel like some bullshit, especially when you, like I said, you got your shit worked out a certain type of way. But yeah, basically, you know what I'm saying? They coming down making sure they're trying to get everybody to work them 70 hours. And I went through that too when I worked for Food Liner. You know what I'm saying? They trying to make sure that we, you know what I'm saying? They try to get that 70 about us. I didn't have no problem with doing the 70. As long as I was running out of town and coming back, and if I was doing enough for that to where I ran up my 70 or got close to it, I was fine with that. But yeah, don't be, they used to do little stuff like, okay, I'm done. You know what I'm saying? I'm done for the week. I got less than 10 hours left. Like, well, I ain't gonna, ain't nothing for me to do. No, they want you to, try to get you to go move trailers and go here. Like, nah. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I used to do it. Sometimes I used to get up out of that. But just from what that young man was saying, like, I know the feeling, man, when you feel like somebody is taking away your time and playing with your time. I know the feeling. And sometimes, when you dependent on the job, it make you feel helpless. That's what a slave, when people, feel like their jobs is slavery. Or if you got people in the trucking industry that feel like it's slavery. But like I said before, we got a choice. We got choices. You don't have to be a slave. I don't feel like no slave in trucking. Yeah, is it hard work? Yeah. Has it been hard work? Yes. You know what I'm saying? Was it times, jobs, and pissed me off? Yeah, of course. That's normal. You know what I'm saying? But like I always say, man, the only thing that just helped my mental be able to get to this because I've always been working for something or to something since day one. And I think when you working towards something, you don't necessarily have to feel like a slave, especially when you working towards something in a way the way you trying to bring something to life or put something together for your life that's going to be for the betterment of your life. You know, when it comes to like people feeling like slaves, a lot of times people do it to themselves. You know, how do you live your life? How do you spend your money? How do you manage your money? What you got going on? You know, when I came in the trucking, man, I already knew keep my profile low. Um, I didn't really, you know what I'm saying? Even now, like it's stuff that I can reach out there and get as far as like credit wise. I can go trade this car in and go give me a Benz. You know what I'm saying? No money down. You know, sometimes it's because you got access or you got the resources to do certain things. That don't mean that you should do them. And a lot of times we make ourselves slaves. It don't all the time be the job. We might feel like that, but sometimes your lifestyle gonna make you a slave because you creating this lifestyle. Now you stuck having to go back and forth to work. You know what I'm saying? And now a lot of times, you know what I'm saying, whatever type of lifestyle you didn't built up, that lifestyle is dependent upon that job in which you're getting your resources from. And it ain't gonna be that easy just to replace that job. You know what I mean? So now you stuck. Now you got to do what they tell you, or whatever changes that's gonna affect you. You gotta accept it. So a lot of times, man, I feel like we make ourselves slaves. That's why it's just certain things like I be trying to stay away from. You know what I mean? Cause yeah, you know, it's pretty common that once the more money a person makes, the more their lifestyle is gonna change. Their lifestyle is going to increase with the money that they make. And if you're doing that, then you making yourself a slave. So, you know, people who feel like truck driving or being in the trucking industry, that you feel like this is slavery, it's like, what you doing? Me personally, everybody got their own opinion, and it rightfully so, however you feel. But I just feel like, man, this trucking, man, I just feel like this trucking is only for betterment. It's only to build something. That's just how I see it. Some people, I never looked at trucking as like a 9 to 5. Like I just never looked at like, okay, I'm gonna get this job. I'm just gonna fall back. I never looked at trucking like that. There's no reason for me to even be in this if I'm not working towards something and taking what I get from out of this and building something over here or whatever the case may be. Or even if you want to be in this trucking industry for the complete long haul, like you really want to build you an empire within this, you either way, you know, it's about building something. Especially if you got a family, you know what I'm saying? You got kids and stuff like that. I mean, if you got kids, if you want to be in their life, you know, some people don't, you know, you know what I'm saying? You know, you got kids and stuff and you over the road, you want to be in their life. You know, I know some people, they just doing this trucking shit because it's something to put the food on the table. But if this is all you got, like what you working towards, because other than that, it's like you just gonna be stuck doing this. Then you gonna You know what I'm saying? You're gonna be at the wheel of this industry. And if the money good, I mean, whatever money you getting, if you feel it's decent and you building a lifestyle of being OTR, for instance. You know, some people feel like going OTR make more money. Some people say you make more money local. It just all depends. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I can see it can be tough. Because everybody, you know what I'm saying? Everybody is not thinking about, some people just want a job. You know what I'm saying? Everybody not on that time where they want to take control of their destiny and all that. Some people just want a job. Just like the video I made yesterday with the guy that left the comment that trucking is not a lifestyle, it's just a job. I had to ask, like, what, you know, people like that or whoever think like that, like, what is you doing with your time in trucking? You know, whatever money that you getting, as your money is growing, as your experience grows or whatever, like, are you taking all that money, you just buying stuff, you just financing stuff? Because yeah, you're getting things, you know, you might be getting, you know, you working for the things that you like and you want, but if you feel like this is slavery, then whose fault is that? Because I don't feel like no slave. You know what I'm saying? I know that I'm not all the way free. I'm not all the way free, but we working on that. I'm taking it step by step. You know what I'm saying? My journey, I'm taking the scenic route. I'm cool, taking it easy. But we staying consistent and we building slowly. And me personally, I let things come to me. So I don't know, man. And then a lot of people don't really, a lot of people get in this trucking, man. I'm just going like from the videos that I see, man. Like a lot of people, they think it's just too much hard work. And I have to say this, you know, ain't nothing worth having gonna go without putting no hard work in for it. You know, I felt like that too. You know, when I was younger, man, I don't want to work no job. And well, I tell you this, you all, you know, people that don't want to be in trucking, you feel like this is too hard. You feel like a slave is, you know, it ain't worth it. Then what you gonna do? Because it's gonna come a point in time where you gonna have to sit down and focus on something, you know. And like to me, that's always been the whole point of trucking in my mind. And use this to get to the next level, to get to the next platform, wherever you trying to go. You got to use this. Like you got to ride this shit like the Silver Surfer. Because yeah, you know what I'm saying? That's a person becomes stagnant in trucking. That's when the negative thoughts can't come. That's when people feel like, well, it ain't worth it. It ain't this. It ain't that. It's slavery. You know what I'm saying? It's a certain type of mindset of people who think like that. Because I don't feel that way. You know what I'm saying? Was the journey rough at times? Yeah. You had to put in hard work. Yeah. Did you feel like you wasn't getting giving up way more time than what you supposed to be earning? Of course. That's the American way. That's how these businesses survive and thrive. That's why a lot of these businesses then took their manufacturing overseas. Because it's about minimizing the cost as much as possible while maximizing profits. That's what it's all about. So if a company can get the most out of you for little or nothing, they're gonna do it. And it's still you got a choice. You don't have to work for them. You still got a choice. Like I said, it's the beautiful thing about being in this country. You have a choice to decide what you want to do, but just know anything that you want to do, at some point in time, you're gonna have to put some focus, and you're gonna have to you know what I'm saying, you're gonna have to go balls to the wall with the grind or whatever the case may be. You know, Elon Musk still be sleeping in and out the factories. You know what I'm saying? The grind don't stop. Especially when you doing something like a lot of stuff that drive me in this trucking is bigger than just money. I got reasons bigger than money. And it's little small accomplishments, but they the world to me. You know, it feel good not to have to ask nobody for no time off. You know, and I know, somebody gonna say, "Oh, well, you still leased on to a company." Yeah, yeah, yeah. But like I said, it feels good that I don't have to ask nobody for no time off. I don't have to sit around and wait for nobody to approve PTO or none of that. That's a reason. You know what I'm saying? Because as a grown man, I got shit to handle in my life. I don't got time to be sitting around waiting on somebody to tell me when it's okay for me to take off. I remember in my last job, I had a couple deaths in the family. So I had to put in some spur of the moment time to take off for one. And then it was another death, like back to back. These was important people. You know what I'm saying? I had to be at these funerals. And for me to have to go talk to a terminal manager, and they got some sideways stuff to say. Well, you took off the last time, and I don't know what we gonna do. Like, I don't got time to hear that shit. I don't got time for that. I'm 43 years old. I'm not finna be sitting around talking with no other man about days off. I can't do it. So that's a reason for me, amongst other reasons. That's my bigger than life reason. That's my bigger than money reason. And it's small. When it's time to handle business or whatever, whether I got to handle business or I'm going doing something for my leisure time, park my truck up. Hey, I'll be back on this date. That's that. You got to do no negotiating, no talking, no permission, none of that. But it costs. You got to pay the cost to be the boss. So, but we got the choice though. So just think about it, man. For people who, like trucking is hard. Trucking can feel like hard work. Like I said, a lot of people want to get into this. They hear that money. You think all you gonna do is just slide up and down the road. And then they make it even worse because a lot of people, they coming in, they not even learning stick shift in the truck. They learning automatic. And no, I'm not saying that another trucker that learned on the automatic is better than another truck driver that learned on the stick and vice versa. None of that. But I do think that, learning how to drive a stick being phased out, that's taking out like a lot of character with learning how to drive a truck. It's just something about it. You know what I'm saying? Same way like how people who raise and cultivate their own food, raise cattle, it's a special spiritual thing for them when they slaughter. You know what I'm saying? Especially when they slaughter their meat and they cattle in a humane way. You know what I'm saying? It's a spiritual thing. So it's the same thing like in trucking, like learning how to drive that stick. It helps build character because a lot of people go through hell trying to learn how to drive a stick when they first come in the truck. And I know I did. But now it's just so easy just to hop in the truck. It's like it's no line drawn. You go from driving an automatic car today to hopping right in an automatic truck. So it's for a lot of people, it's like you just still driving a car. You just in a bigger truck. Because that's how a lot of people are starting to drive today. A lot of truckers, I don't know who they are, just trucks that I see, they be out here driving like cars, man. You know what I'm saying? It's a little bit more thought you got to put into things when you driving a stick shift. So all I'm saying is, hey man, people got choices, and it just goes back to what I always say about trucking, man. I feel like a person should be using this to propel themselves, whether you want to grow in this industry exponentially or whether you want to build something outside of trucking. You know what I'm saying? But you should be using this to catapult yourself forward because, yeah, if you just out here with no plan, just going by check, accumulating debt, accumulating things, and financial. I don't want to say financial agreements, but financial. Man, what the hell? It's a word. But you know what I mean? You got. Damn, what's the word? Well, you done created you a lifestyle with no plan. Then you'll be a slave to the industry. You'll be a slave to the industry. I mean, you'll definitely be a slave to the industry. Everybody not no slave out here. You know what I'm saying? All depending on how they got their life set up. So I don't know. Maybe I just look at things different. Once I realized what it was, especially once I realized the financial system, you know, it didn't dawn on me uh, when I was young what a bank really was. I thought a bank was just a nice building. They used to keep my pop's money. They used to watch his money, and they give me a little lollipop with a smile. I thought it was like some community service shit. Growing up, I just never really knew. But once I found out, certain things start clicking as I got older. Of course, yeah, I had no idea that if I get a bank $10,000, they only gonna give me 0.00 point. You know what I'm saying? Percentage rate, nothing. But they gonna take that same 10 bands and go hit somebody else for 10, 15, 18, 20% interest. A lot of us, we not taught that in school. You know what I'm saying? Or if it's something that's said about it, it's not emphasized. Like all the other shit that don't matter is emphasized. So you feel like a slave, man, the choice is yours. And particularly in this trucking, use it for what it's worth, man. At some point in time, you're gonna have to put the work in for whatever it is you want to do. So if you got into trucking, man, use this shit. But I don't know. It's just my little 2 cents. Finally, I'm gone.